And good afternoon. It is Friday, which means it is our lunch and learn. Now today, we're going to be talking about dementia again because we have some help for you. And I read a statistic that was very frightening if I didn't know what I already know. But the statistic shows that a new study from New York University, Langone Health, Johns Hopkins University suggests that nearly half of the Americans who are dementia-free at 55 will develop the condition in their lifetime. So if you are 55, then the study shows that 1 out of 2 of us will have dementia as we age. And so that's a very frightening statistic. Thankfully, I'm very close to 70 and I'm still doing fairly well. However, we know that the older we get, the more we've got misfolded proteins and that kind of thing. So with the annual number of new cases in the United States expected to nearly double by 2060, researchers highlight the importance of policies and individual approaches that support aging. So I do think that we are our own best advocate. I'm on no medications, and I'm very thankful to God for that. Most people my age are on between 5 and 15 different medications. And so one of the reasons that I'm not on any medications is because, I'm going to show you this. I've shown you this before. I take these every day, twice a day. These are the Life Pack Nano Vitamins. They're for seniors, and they have all of the nutrition that a senior needs to have. And so because I support my body the way I need to support my body, I believe my body will support me into my more golden years than I am right now. But the statistics show that if we take care of ourselves, we can reverse this trend. So I'm going to show you some things today, more than just vitamins that you can do, that you can maybe stave off the dementia. Okay, we don't want dementia. So today, there's 7 million Americans who live with dementia. This condition occurs when the brain cells die off, leading to a gradual decline of cognition and the ability to perform daily tasks. The cause of dementia varies, but in many cases, the factors are the buildup of the amyloid plaque and tau plaque in the brain, okay, reduced blood flow to the brain, as in vascular dementia. These changes can begin several years before you even know it. And there's not any testing that we can do right now to show that, but we've got some studies that are going to help us know what we need to do in order to move forward. So with these projections, they're very, very concerning. There's a growing body of evidence showing that prevention is possible. Dr. Joseph Koresh, lead author of the study and founding director of Optimal Aging Institute at New York City, said that we can potentially reduce our risk through lifestyle choices, which is especially important as people live longer. He says, and this is a quote, "Even with genetic susceptibility, there's a lot you can do to lower your chances of developing dementia." So this was published in the Nature Medicine in January the 13th. A new study estimates the number of new dementia cases in the United States will rise from 520,000, this was in the year 2020, to over 1 million by 2060. Now, I don't know if you've dealt with dementia in your family. We're dealing with that right now in our family. It's not caused by sickness and disease necessarily. There have been some issues like chemo brain. Okay, so this person that is in our family is a cancer survivor, but did have chemo and radiation. We know that damages the brain. And so, and there's no known gene defect. There's nobody in our family that's ever had dementia or anything like that. So we want to know what we can do in order to prevent this. Researchers found that more than 40% of people who do not have dementia by age 55 will eventually develop it. So raise your hand if you're over 55. I am. Okay, so far, so good. But what else can I do? And there's some changes that I'm going to be making since I've been reading this report. And I'm very grateful that we have the partners that we have who make the products that we absolutely love so that we can make sure that we're not headed in this direction. So the risk increases significantly over time. 20% of the people will develop dementia by age 85. 4% will develop it by age 75, and then another 22% will develop it after age 85. And I read a thing a couple of months ago that if you develop Alzheimer's in your 80s, the life expectancy is only 3 years. So it's very, very debilitating. And if there's things that I can do in my 60s to, ward off that, then I'm going to be a healthier 70 decade, 80 decade, and beyond, okay? So we want to know that there are things that we can do. Women have a higher lifetime risk due to the fact that they live longer. We just live longer. The increase in dementia cases is closely linked with aging in the U.S. population. As people live longer, the number of people who get dementia is increasing. However, dementia cases are also included by a variety of factors, including lifestyle factor diseases. Now, what is a lifestyle factor diseases? That is cancer, that is diabetes, and that is hypertension. So these are lifestyle diseases, and if we can change our lifestyle, what does that mean? Diet, exercise, stress reduction, all those kind of things. If we can change that, we can reverse those diseases, and if we reverse those diseases, we also reverse the susceptibility for us to have dementia. Now, why is that? Because these lifestyle diseases have an impact on our vascular health. So, obesity also is a lifestyle disease, and also it leads us toward dementia, okay? So we want to make sure that we don't do that. These conditions that I just said accelerate the progression of dementia by damaging the brain's blood cells, blood vessels, and disrupting the cognitive function, according to Koresh, who is also an epidemiologist. Now, an epidemiologist is a doctor, a medical doctor, who not only can diagnose a disease, but also can have the information that he needs in order to find out what is the cause of the disease. So the study also predicted a significant increase in dementia cases among Black Americans, who are expected to see their dementia diagnosis triple till 2060. Now, why is that? This increased risk is largely attributed to social and health factors, including elevated risks of hypertension and diabetes. So Koresh emphasized that the connection between vascular health conditions, particularly hypertension and diabetes, and dementia, especially vascular dementia, which is caused by reduced blood vessels to the brain. Vascular dementia is the second most common dementia that we have after Alzheimer's disease. So if you have done genetic testing, and I meant to look at mine because I have done genetic testing, but I ran out of time. We can do genetic testing here. It doesn't go to Google, doesn't go to the FBI, doesn't go to anywhere, just me and the lab and you. Okay, but there are genetic gene SNPs that can tell you if you have a genetic predisposition towards dementia. Now, approximately 25% of Americans carries the Alzheimer link, which is the ApoE4 gene. So if you've had genetic testing, you can look and see if you have a SNP in that gene. Now, a SNP stands for single nucleotide protein, I think is what it stands for. And you get one chromosome from your mom, you get one chromosome from your dad. And so this particular gene, if they're both healthy, then you don't have a problem. If one is got a broken part in it, that's called a heterozygous gene SNP. If both parents have problems, it's called a homozygous problem. And so you've got a more advanced risk if you've got that both of the SNPs are the same. And so that's something that you can check if you've had your DNA done. If you want us to do your DNA, it's real easy. We can have the kit shipped to you, and they can do it. And like I say, the information comes to me, it comes to you, and nobody else except the lab. So this particular gene SNP it impedes the brain's ability to clear out the tau protein buildup. But you know what clears out tau protein buildups? Curcumin, okay? But you have to have the right formula of curcumin that has all the cofactors in there. So the risk of developing dementia is varied, and it is based on a number of different factors, including your genetics. But even though you have that gene, that does not automatically mean that you're going to get dementia. Environmental factors have a huge impact in your brain health. So we want to make sure that we are not in a high level of pollution. We want to make sure that we manage our chronic stress. Chronic stress elevates cortisol levels, and cortisol levels adversely affect brain function. Now, I've shown you this before, but I'm going to show you again. This is one of my favorite supplements. It's called cortitrol, and it controls cortisol levels. Now, when I get tense, and I've told y'all this before, I stay, even though I know it's not a good thing, I am hardwired to stay in sympathetic dominance. So when you stay in sympathetic dominance, you're like that little hamster on the wheel all the time, all the time, all the time, and you never rest and recover. Now, for me, that manifests itself as stress in my jaw and stress in my shoulders. So when I realize, oh, I'm stressed there, I'll take 3 of these and I'll be fine. Within 20 minutes, the stress is gone and that kind of thing. Now, I'm also mindful. You know, this is my self-talk. You know you stay in sympathetic dominance. You know you need to have some downtime. You know you need to relax. You know you need to do activities that are going to cause you to get into that parasympathetic dominance. So that's part of lifestyle factors, right? It's not just okay for me to say I'm hardwired to be on all the time. While that is true, that's not necessarily the best healthy posture for me. And because I know that, part of my mindfulness is I build into my schedule relaxation. I build into my schedule downtime. I build into my schedule rest time. I say no to activities that I would like to do just because I know that I have not had enough rest time, and that's really, really important to me that I'm able to do that. So when you have elevated cortisol in your body, it causes your brain to malfunction, and it reduces blood flow to the brain. If you have reduced blood flow to the brain, you can have vascular dementia, so we don't want to do that. Even if you have a higher risk genetically for dementia, you can still reduce your risk by 1/3 with preventative strategies. Addressing the key factors throughout life from childhood onward could prevent or delay half of all dementia cases. A 2024 report by the Lancet Commission on Dementia Prevention, Intervention, and Care found that almost half of dementia cases were preventable or could have been delayed. The important factors to reduce the risk of dementia include maintaining healthy blood pressure. So I'm not a fan of medication, as you know, I say this all the time. However, if you cannot control your blood pressure naturally, then you need to take advantage of the pharmaceuticals that we have that do control blood pressure. I just read this week that we've had the 3rd hypertensive medicine being recalled because it leads to cancer. So that's one of the reasons I don't like medication, is because they're approved and then they're recalled and they're approved and then they're recalled. You know how all that goes. However, if you cannot control your blood pressure with food, exercise, supplements, all that kind of thing, then I would rather you take a prescription and control the hypertension rather than letting the hypertension close down those little blood vessels in your brain, and then you develop dementia later on. You need to control your diabetes. Now, I know people, they sit right across from me here, and they know they're diabetic, but they don't want to make the lifestyle changes. Limit your carbs to 30 grams of carbohydrates per meal, no more than 90 grams of carbohydrates per day. If you do that, you can reverse diabetes, okay? Now, there's a lot of other things. How bad is your pancreas? How much insulin resistance do you have? Are you even producing any insulin now? So there's a lot of other things, and so that's kind of a simplistic answer, is to say just control your carbs. However, if you control your carbs, your sugar is going to stay under control, and you're going to be able to manage that. If you can't or won't do that, then you need to take the medication that they give you, because it's going to help prevent these lifestyle choices from giving you dementia. Now, there is a caveat to that, because a lot of these medications also cause dementia. So you can look at the black box warning if you have one on your medication, or you can look at the side effects on your medication to see if dementia is one of those. And if it is, you might want to change your medication and that kind of thing. You want to stay active. You want to stay moving, move your body, and just don't get sedentary. You want to eat a balanced diet, and you also want to stop smoking. Nobody should be smoking these days. There's just too much evidence out there that smoking causes all kinds of problems. Now, as we've said before, most people do not have as varied a diet as we would like. We want you to have 35 different fruits and vegetables in a week. And this is another reason, I've lost it, why I do these vitamins, because these vitamins are made out of fruits and vegetables. They're made out of the flavonoids that are in your fruits and vegetables. Your body converts those to carotenoids, and your body uses those for anti-aging and for your immune system. So if you're not going to eat well, you don't know how to eat well, you've got too stressed of a lifestyle, so you don't eat well, whatever the issue is, if you take vitamins like this, then you're going to mitigate those circumstances, because this has all the nutrition that a senior needs for 12 hours. You do one in the morning and you do one in the evening. So the things that are good for your heart are also good for your brain. Now, we're talking not necessarily about nutrition, but also the things that are good for your heart. What's good for your heart? Relaxation, to be around people that love you, to do things that bring you joy. All of that is really, really good for your heart. So Dr. Koresh says if you can manage diabetes, especially before the age of 65, you significantly reduce your dementia risk. The Lancet report attributes high LDL proteins, cholesterol, okay, and in midlife around the age 40 to a 7% increase in dementia. So let me just talk to you about cholesterol for a minute. Cholesterol is not bad. Cholesterol is good. Runaway cholesterol is not good. Okay, so your liver makes cholesterol as a response to inflammation in the body. Okay, inflammation can be parasites, it can be bacteria, it can be mold, fungus, heavy metals, chemicals, all the things. Okay, all of that is in the body. The body says, I don't want it. The body tries to push it out, whatever that means, and that causes inflammation. The liver pushes out LDL to squash the inflammation, right? So taking a medication that lowers your cholesterol is not necessarily in your best interest if you're not dealing with the inflammatory processes. However, runaway high cholesterol, and people that have high cholesterol are usually people that are out of shape. They're obese, they don't eat well, they've got hypertension, and they've got diabetes, okay? So those are all lifestyle situations that if you change those, you're not going to have a cholesterol issue. If you have had cholesterol before you or while you were in your 40s, high cholesterol in your 40s, you have a significantly higher chance of getting dementia. So right now, today, make a decision to do something different so you can mitigate that, all right? So what can you do? You can move your body, you can exercise, you can limit your sugars, your processed foods, your excess salt also helps reduce the risk of dementia. Now, one of the things that we learned, I think we learned it last week when we did our Lunch and Learn on dementia, we found that people with dementia, before they get actually dementia, they eat a lot of salt, okay, like an excessive amount of salt. So that's kind of a little tell. If you like salty food, if you oversalt your food, then you might have a situation going on that's leading to dementia, and you need to kind of work on that because we don't want you getting dementia, all right? So hearing loss and social isolation also contribute to dementia. Now, who would think that hearing loss would do that? But there is a significant role with not being able to hear, because not being able to hear causes a lot of static in the brain, and it causes your brain to have to work harder. Koresh, that's that doctor we talked about a while ago, says try to imagine that you're in a really loud restaurant or subway trying to have a conversation. Over time, this type of stress can harm your brain cells. He said that his research has shown that older adults who receive hearing aids compared to those who don't cut their cognitive decline rate by almost half. So if you need hearing aids, get them, because you want to make sure that you're not hurting your brain and you're hurting the cognitive functions of your brain, so that you're able to do what you need to do. Now, there's a couple of things he says that the social engagement, just being around people and doing things with people, significantly reduces your risk of dementia. It says if you walk with somebody else, if you do things with other people, that is a great way to reduce your risk. Social interaction involves conversation, games, and activities that challenge the mind. These activities keep the brain active and engaged, which strengthens cognitive function and slows down cognitive decline. All right. He says that vision problems also can contribute to dementia. So this is one thing that I did not know. There's just a lot of things that I did not know. But I was diagnosed last May in 2024, with cataracts, bad cataracts. And I have known for years, that I had the beginning of cataracts. But from last year, from 2023 to 2024, things went crazy. I was under a lot of stress during that year, so I don't know. But anyway, I was advised that I needed to have my cataracts taken care of. And it was like, no, I'm good. Just give me the good lenses and I'll be fine. However, across my desk came two reports. One report said that if you had cataracts and you did not have your cataracts attended to, then you had an increased risk of developing glaucoma. Now, glaucoma is another eye disease, and it does not have any symptoms. And what it will do if you don't go for regular eye exams, the pressure in your eye will pinch off your optic nerve and you will go blind permanently. I thought, cataracts cause that to happen. So that was like, oh, maybe I need to rethink my position. And then I had another report that said that if you had cataracts and you did not take care of them, then you increased your risk of vascular dementia. And I thought, well, that just settled it. Even though I'm afraid to do this, I'm going to do this because I'm more afraid of vascular dementia. And so in July and in August, I went and had both of the cataracts taken care of. And honestly, it was a piece of cake. I was all afraid for no reason. So if you're not taking care of your cataracts because you are afraid, I'm just going to tell you the worst thing is getting an IV. Honest to God. Honest, that is the absolute worst thing. Yes, you're awake, but you don't see anything, you don't hear anything, and you just, you come out of it 15 minutes later with new lenses. And so it's really well worth it, especially if it causes vascular dementia. So I want to talk to you about a product that we have that honestly I'm probably going to start taking. This is a product, it's called Assura Brain. I know the formulator, she's a good friend of mine. And this was developed because she knew somebody, she's a naturopath like I am, and she knows somebody who had a traumatic brain injury, and that's kind of her niche. She deals with people that have traumatic brain injuries, and so she made this formula. We have this formula. We use this formula for people that have traumatic brain injuries. But I reached out to her yesterday, and I said, is by any chance this formula effective against vascular dementia? And she wrote back, she said, yes, it brings nutrition into the brain and it takes out the environmental pollution out of the brain. So yes, it does help vascular dementia. So I thought, why don't I, while I'm still young enough not to have dementia, why don't I start taking this regularly, maybe not every day 24/7, but maybe do a month, every quarter of the year. Maybe I don't really know because I'm just learning about this, but that's something that we all could do. And if we know people in our lives that are slipping, we know they're slipping, this might be something that you want to do. There's another product that we have that I don't have because we're sold out, but it is called Mind Bloom, okay, and it is made out of mushrooms. Now, we know that mushrooms are what? They're good for your immune system, and we know that they are good for your cells. So if you have cancer, precancer cells, and all that kind of stuff, we know that mushrooms are good for that. But this particular blend of mushrooms, and this is cordyceps and lion's mane. Now, there's a whole lot about lion's mane these days, and also sage. So sage, of course, that is an herb. It's not a mushroom. It boosts memory and cognition in as little as 10 minutes. So if you're somebody that has brain fog, if you're somebody that just can't get it all together, the part of the sage in this supplement, it's a supplement, it will help with your cognition. It supports focus and concentration, and it limits mental fog by inhibiting the acetylcholine esterase activity. Now, we talked about that last week. Organic cordyceps, okay, it has neuroprotective compounds that support memory and provide protection against free radicals. It boosts mental clarity and focus, and it also improves nerve growth and BDNF. Now, we talked about BDNF last week, I think it was last week, and we found that if we don't have that in our body, then we have more of a tendency to go to dementia. So this particular mushroom, cordyceps, it helps replenish and ignite the BDNF in our brain, which is a chemical synthesis that helps us to not have dementia. And then the full spectrum lion's mane mushroom, it bolsters cognitive health through the support of tissue growth, brain growth, repair, and maintenance. Now, we talked about last week, one of the things about dementia is that the hippocampus shrinks, right? We lose white matter. The brain shrinks and it just doesn't work right. Well, lion's tail mushroom reverses that or stops that if you take it, early enough. It supports long-term cognitive brain health, and it encourages mental clarity and focus. So these are two things that we have, and I'm just really thinking that as we get older, we might want to add some of these, as I said, maybe not 24/7, but, rotate them in and out. I have an eye vitamin that I don't do 24/7, but I do, once a month, every quarter, just in order to keep my eyes doing what my eyes need to do. So these are some things that you can do. These are some tips to help you maintain your cognitive function. What we don't want to do is we don't want to eat the processed foods. We want to manage the lifestyle diseases that we can. And to that end, we've been posting on our stories that we have a 60-day wellness challenge. Now, what does that mean? That means if you have a health concern that we can help with, and you purchase a product for 2 months, on that third month, the company will give you $30, okay, as a voucher to purchase something else or as a rebate or whatever. So this is something that we can help you with. If you, now none of the 2 products that I mentioned today don't count, but we do have a product on the list. I think there's about 10 things on my list. I'm looking at my computer because that's where my list is. But there is a product that does have all the mushrooms in it. Okay, so this would be a good thing if you're concerned about cognitive health. Then we've got products. We've got the vitamins. We've got several versions of the vitamins. We've got immune health. We've got cellular detox health. We've got collagen. And we've got Meta, which is a liver and kidney supplement, which is great. And all of us over 50 need to be taking care of our livers and our kidney function. So we've got lots to help you with. Call the office, 281-312-2860. That's 312-2860 if you want to get on this wellness challenge. You order in February, you order in March, and in April, you'll have that voucher. So if we can help you with that, let us know. There's not many people that will pay you for getting well and taking care of your health, but we will. And so if we can help you, go ahead and give us a call, and we'll be happy to do that for you. It is the weekend. And what do we do at the weekend? We rest, we recover, we replenish, okay? We calm down, we go into that parasympathetic dominance, and we just make sure that our body works the way it needs to. So you do that, and I'll do that, and I will see you next Friday.